Welcome to the Level 1 Lounge, where we give our uneducated take on everything and anything gaming related. I'm your host for this week, Irish Bandit, and again, I am always joined by my two co-hosts, Rider Pride 639 and Agent Maverick 86. Gentlemen, how are you doing this?
Oh, we're doing
Uh,
good.
Great. Yeah. Big month for games this month. So excited to talk about some games.
I think we called it Broketober at one point.
Yes.
Yep, we
It's
did.
always Broketober every October. It's insane with what's been coming out.
Well, it's good to see you guys again after having 2 weeks off. Ryder was sick 2 weeks ago, and then we took last week off for the Thanksgiving holiday here in Canada. So we are back. Oh, we did have the live stream. We
Yep,
are
we did
back to
have
our
that.
regular shenanigans, and we're just going to start it off right now with powering up with our opening question. This one is a fun one, really fun one. Which game or game console, in your opinion, had the best ad? Agent Maverick, why don't we start with?
For best game ad, the one that I remember the most was Crash Bandicoot. When he showed up,
Yes,
there's a mascot dressed up, showing up, catcalling Mario in front of
yeah,
Nintendo.
outside the Nintendo office.
Yes,
That was a
that
good
one
one.
is the one that stands out the most. I just like, oh, come on, you plucky little plumber. Yeah. I thought that was hilarious.
Mhm.
And Crash was one of the first games I ever played on PlayStation that really drew me in, which is kind of, and now it's more of a mascot for Xbox than it is it is for PlayStation now. But the other thing that comes to mind, you brought up consoles, is the PlayStation 2 ad for the PlayStation 9. I know that sounds a little weird. I'm sure that a couple people will remember that, where it was an orb that ended up being like AI generated and it ended up being in your brain and you played on the go. I don't know why that one stuck out. But I mean, we're halfway there and AI is kind of a thing now, so who
Yep,
knows?
Very true.
exactly that. And we were saying before that we started recording, like, how awesome would playing role playing games on that be? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're already close. Like, we already have like VR headsets,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we're in this.
Come on,
It's a
Square.
step in the right direction.
Square Enix, get on this. Let's get a Final Fantasy in VR. Come on.
Well, they did have Batman release in
That's true.
VR recently too with the MetaQuest, right? So
Yep.
reviews are looking good for that one. Makes me want to pick one up.
All right, let's move on to Rider Pride 639. What is your favorite video game or the best video?
Uh, for me, the one that I always fondly remember the most was 2009's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. There was so much hype surrounding this particular game release. The commercial was amazing. They had Eminem doing the track for it, which he did. If I
I
remember
remember
correctly,
that.
the track was called "Till I Collapse." Um, and yeah, it was so hype. I think the part that sold me the most was seeing the one scene where you're in the side of a Huey helicopter, you're flying around the Washington Monument or one of the Capitol buildings or something like that, and you're on the minigun, like on the helicopter's minigun, and the bullets are literally ripping apart the concrete as you're shooting it. So yeah, no, that was probably my favorite video game ad that I can remember, anyways. If we go to the console side of things, there's only one that sticks out in my mind the most, and we got to go like way back to the Nintendo days. And it's not necessarily for the console, but for one of the accessories. And I'm talking about the Nintendo Power Glove. If you remember the commercial about now you're playing with power. And I just remember seeing I remember that commercial so fondly, seeing it on like, because I saw it all the time on Saturday morning cartoons.
Hmm.
Um, that was I never did actually get a Power Glove, as much as I begged and cried and screamed and kicked for it, but it just never happened. So
And maybe
um
that's a good thing because that was a pile of garbage.
yeah, it was I mean
Right up there
it had
with
it
Virtual Boy.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it had its niche uses, but that was pretty much it. There wasn't really anything else that could make use of it. But anyways, yeah, those are my two most memorable ads.
As for me, for video game ads, oh God, I can't really think of any. I had the only one that I can really like have vague images of, only because I think I watched leading up to the release of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was like the original Final Fantasy VII ad had all these flash cuts of scenes from the game, and it kind of gave away the big spoiler within the game with when you see Cloud laying Aerith to rest in the body of water, and something about lost love. And so that one still kind of sticks out in my mind. And as for video game systems themselves, I always think back to the Sega when they were doing their big rally against Nintendo when they had the campaign of Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
Oh
I don't know.
yes.
I always thought that was kind of
Oh, is that
an
a
interesting
first
little
shot?
wordplay. I always thought that was an interesting little wordplay. It's like, oh, I get what they're saying. Genesis does what Nintendo don't. Okay. Not gonna make me buy a Genesis. Still funny. So
I
yeah, I
actually
think that's one that
preferred Sega over Nintendo at the time.
Oh,
I think a lot of
But
people.
well,
I mean, which is a
I
moot
mean,
point now because now Nintendo owns Sega, so
Yeah, pretty
who
much.
really won that fight?
isn't Sega just more of a publisher now though? They
I
just
thought
like
Sega was
Pretty
a
much,
publisher.
yeah.
yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they're under the Nintendo banner.
I'm gonna have to double check that. I don't think they are. I think they're their own developer.
I think Maverick might be right, but I mean, Nintendo owning Sega, who would have thought that one? Like, I am still Ryder at one point was a huge wrestling fan. It would be like, when we found out that the WWF bought the WCW.
Right, yeah.
Uh, Sega is not owned by Nintendo.
Ah,
They're a private company that is. They're just a developer now.
Okay.
Maverick was right.
Yeah. Wow.
See, I thought
Okay.
I thought Maverick.
It's recording, right?
And edit.
He's gonna edit that out in post. All right. Well, we are all booted up, and let's get into level 1. And oh boy, we've been talking about not Microsoft, Ubisoft for quite a while on the podcast, and well, we have more news to cover with Ubisoft, and it seems that their struggles are continuing. As discussed in previous podcasts, Ubisoft is in major financial trouble. Everything from falling stocks to backlash on games such as Assassin's Creed Shadows and Star Wars Outlaws. Ubisoft has begun a process of internal reviews and speculation that the company could go private. They've also taken it a step further by having Ubisoft's CEO recently making headlines by blaming gamers for the company's struggle. He expressed that the shifting gaming landscape and changing player expectations have made it increasingly difficult to meet the demands of. The statement has drawn criticism from both the gaming community and industry analysts, who argue that it leads to a lack of accountability from the leadership. We'll get into our thoughts. Despite these financial issues, Ubisoft is sticking to its big plans for the Assassin's Creed franchise. They aim to release 10 new games over the next 5 years, so roughly looking at 2 games per year under that strategy, ranging from mainline AAA titles to remakes and mobile games like Assassin's Creed. However, with delays already affecting projects like Shadows, it's unclear whether they can keep up with this aggressive schedule. One of the more exciting upcoming releases is the remake of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, along with darker themed projects like Codename Hack. All this is happening under the cloud of potential takeover talks with Tencent, which already holds significant stake in Ubisoft. If these talks progress, it could signify change. It could significantly change the direction of the company. For now, Ubisoft is pushing forward but the road ahead is uncertain. With investors' confidence still shaky and the gaming community closely see how they respond to recent criticism. Now we have more Ubisoft news in a bit, but gentlemen, let's get your take on this. Like I said, I think 2 games a year for 5 years is a little bit of a lofty expectation. Maybe. What are your
I don't
Sorry.
think it is. I don't think it
Nope.
is with their development. You got to keep in mind that they have different branches under Ubisoft as well, right? So, I mean, the development cycle is constantly moving. It's like kind of like the way that Activision is with Call of Duty. Assassin's Creed is their bread and butter.
Mhm.
Uh, I don't think doing the remasters of Assassin's Creed is the way to go. I don't get me wrong, Black Flag was a fantastic game, but we're getting into territory of, do these games need to be remastered and remade so quickly? And it's just padding for their wallets. I don't completely agree with it. And I'm a sucker for it still, regardless. So I know that I'm contradicting myself because I'm going and buying these remasters anyways. But I am excited for Assassin's Creed Hex and the new projects. But they need to find a way to move forward and change things. They need another revitalization. I've said it before, Origins was a great step forward. They moved away from the older style of controls. The way that the game played was better in my mind. I am a little concerned about the mobile aspect of things, and especially if they're bought by Tencent, it's going to happen. But again, Ryder's brought this up, Chew's brought it up. Everybody has one of these kicking around in their pockets. It's an easy way to get games out. And unfortunately, in my mind, that is the direction that things are going to be going. They have to adapt with the future. But without adapting with the future, they need to be able to do things like not blame their customers
Yes.
for
Exactly.
their mistakes.
Yep.
And I'm glad that they're doing internal reviews, but Ubisoft has been underwater for a while. Like, I think we talked about it one of our first podcasts. We had a story where Ubisoft said, hey, we're not making any money this year. Everything's invested in next year. Skull and Bones came out. Oops. Outlaws came out. Oops. All of these games came out. Like, I mean, Prince of Persia came out. It was well received, but no one bought it. I mean, that development aspect of Ubisoft has been disbanded. There's all of these things that they have the potential of doing really well, but they just want to keep going with the same formula, and it doesn't work. Ubisoft needs to grow with the times.
Ryder Pride, how about you?
Pretty much have to echo everything that Mav said there. Yeah, like blaming your player base for your shortcomings is definitely one way to really kind of alienate yourself. Yeah, well, alienate yourself further to the point where people are going to be, a lot more hesitant to buy your games in the future, especially when you are releasing things like Skull and Bones and Outlaws. As much as I enjoyed it, it definitely has its flaws, and there's a lot of things that they could have done better with the game. But I mean, to be fair, I still enjoyed it all the same.
I'll make a quick argument. Outlaws isn't a bad game. It's a good game. It's just not great, and that's where the problem. Yeah, it's a good game. It's not great.
Yeah. So I mean, AC Shadows has a very, very big set of shoes to try and fill in order to be a great game. It has the potential to be a great game because it is riding on the back of the Assassin's Creed franchise. But there's still a lot of potential for it to be another Star Wars Outlaws. It's a good game, but not a great game. It has the potential to be another Skull and Bones, where it's just a total flop. We're not going to find out until February now, as it were, as the game did indeed get delayed. But, yeah, I mean, going into more details of that, we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next article coming up here.
Yes,
I do think, I'm going to say this. I do think that gamers have higher expectations for their games.
Oh yeah.
That being said, they should.
Give me Division 3.
Oh, Chewy's going to be blowing up the comments with that one, but yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Look, the expectations need to be higher. You've constantly increased the price of games by $10 with every console. I still remember PlayStation 1 came out, games were $59.99. PlayStation 2 came out, $69.99, and so on and so forth. We're at the $89.99 mark in Canada.
And
for the
sometimes
newer
over.
releases, right? So you take tax into account, it's $100 a game. You want us to spend $100 on your game? Give us something good.
And in some cases, that's just for the base game. That's not even like
Well,
deluxe
yeah.
edition.
Yeah,
You have to
Yeah.
factor that in now.
yeah. Which I don't even bother buying the collector's editions anymore. The deluxe edition, like the content that will have the DLCs, I'll pay for up front because I'm thinking if I'm going to be spending money on the game, I might as well get all the content, which is such a stupid formula for games these days as well. It would be really great for us just to for developers to say, here's the full game. We're not giving you anything more. Everybody gets the same amount for the $90. And that's the way that things should be. But
I mean, what a concept.
yeah, but I mean, there are some DLCs I'll give some credit to, like Ghost of Tsushima, added a whole new area, a whole new story. Frozen Wilds was really good for Horizon, and you paid. And I cannot stress enough the content for The Witcher 3, and that additional content was decently priced. And for all of these games I'm bringing up, they were decently priced, and they added 30 to 40 hours of games for like $30 or $40. And you got whole new areas of maps, whole new areas to explore, whole new content, all new characters, worth every cent. But I don't really see a reason why they would hold back some of that content as well. But I know what I can hear monsters screaming in my ear. Money.
Yeah.
Money, Maverick, money.
Yep, that's what it comes down to, is that the almighty bottom dollar.
Yeah. And, I'll throw this one out there too, because you can call me biased all you want because of that. I thought Remake Integrate was great, personally.
Well,
I
that
thought
added
that was worth the
content.
money. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that added content. You played as a new character, whole new area, new experience, new summons. Like, it added enough that I didn't feel ripped off with that additional cost as well.
Yeah. And then you look at, companies like Bungie and what they did with Destiny 2,
Mhm.
where they kept
I don't even
stacking
talk about
DLC on DLC, but every time they added new DLC, all the previous DLC was no longer
It's
available.
gone.
You couldn't play it anymore. So, I mean,
You can't play the base game anymore. I paid for the base game. Give me the base game back.
yeah,
You give me that,
exactly.
I'll come back and I will continue to buy the DLCs.
And me, I'm like, I paid for the base game. You got the base game for free.
Yeah.
So, I still want the base game.
I bought the collector's edition for that one.
Oh.
Yeah. And all that content I paid for is gone.
Oof.
Yeah.
F's in chats.
Yeah.
Exactly. F's in the comments below.
Yeah.
And if you put an F in the comment, make sure you drop a like on the video as well.
That too. If you're new here, subscribe.
Yes.
We'll get all that in the end. But yes, we still have more to talk about when it comes to Assassin's Creed Shadows, and could it turn things around for Ubisoft? Ubisoft has stated by lowering the price of the collector's edition of Assassin's Creed Shadows to $230 USD from $280. Ubisoft revealed Assassin's Creed Shadows in May 2024. It said that the game would come with a season pass as well as 3 days worth of early access. Both are part of the high-tier editions of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Ubisoft has decided to cancel the season pass content, making the DLCs now free, but has also removed early access. No matter what edition you buy, you'll be provided access on February 14th. The games also now become unavailable on both Microsoft and PlayStation stores for pre-order. So, could that turn things around for Ubisoft?
Valentine's Day.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to turn things around for the company, but I do think that it is a potential to turn things around for the game. Because it's, as I was just saying, it'd be nice to have all the DLCs included. All the DLCs are included.
Yeah.
The early access thing, that can go away. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's fair. Just in some cases, like we've talked about it before. With Call of Duty, had that I think last year with early access, and I didn't completely agree with it either at that point, because at least it's just a waste of money and it drives people into buy editions that they don't really need, for starters. And I think it gives players an unfair advantage and gives the opportunity for plots to leak. And that's the thing for me. Like I'm a big story guy, and I don't want to know what I'm going to be walking into with the game that I just bought. Right? I want to experience that for myself. So I'm glad that they're scaled back the early access, and I'm very happy that they've removed the price tag for the DLCs. I think that is a very smart move, and I think it's a step in the right direction. I don't think it's going to be a new gold standard by any means for the industry, but it's a step for them to try to make things right with their fans.
Yeah. I mean,
They
there's always the
dropped the
chance it
whole-
could be. It could become the gold standard, but it's hard to say. But
Yeah, you never know. You never know. It could happen. They've dropped it by a whole what?
$50.
Yeah, a whole
$50,
That's
which is the
just for the
cost of.
collectors.
Yeah. I mean, it's
They're
still out of my price range, but
they've removed. I don't know if they're doing the deluxe editions anymore. I think they're gone. I think it's just a standard edition and collector's editions, and both of them are going to have the same game content. Just the collector's edition is going to have that statue, the soundtrack, all your extras. I still think it's like $350 Canadian, and for me, that's money that I'm not willing to spend, especially to have a statue to sit on my shelf and gather dust.
true enough.
I mean, I don't collect things at all.
No, not at all. Me neither.
I mean, okay, it's not a bad thing to collect. I have Funkos sitting here on my desk as well.
Same.
I mean, but for me, it's another piece that I have that I don't know enough about the characters to make that decision to buy that statue and have it sit on my shelf. If I have anything that I want to put up on my shelf, I want to have it actually mean something. All the Funkos I have that are sitting out here mean something. And to buy a statue of a game that I don't know is going to be any good, it's counterproductive. I've got Connor. I would argue he's one of the best Assassin's Creed characters in the series. I'm happy with that. I would love to have an Ezio statue, but I've got Connor. That's enough.
Yeah.
But I don't need that either. It's just another collectible that is going to take up space in my already crowded office and entertainment room.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much the same for me. I mean, obviously, I like Final Fantasy VII. It's Irish Bandit Rob approved, so
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to AC Shadows, yeah, if anything, I'll probably play it on Ubisoft Plus, assuming that it comes out on Ubisoft Plus day one. I'm pretty sure we said that it did.
It will.
So I mean that's how I'll play it. So I'll spend probably $40. It'll probably take me a couple of months to get through the game, because I'll likely probably live stream it on my Twitch channel. Yeah, no, that's pretty much what it's gonna boil down to me. Like I said, it's I agree. It's definitely a step in the right direction for what they're doing. In terms of basically giving everybody the same thing for the same price type of thing. The fact that they're basically getting rid of the season pass, they're removing early access. And on a game like this, it doesn't really matter because it's single player, right? But then again, you as Maverick just mentioned, you have the whole spoiler issue for the people that do have early access. Particularly, especially us in the content creator universe, a lot of us will always go for the early access because we want to be the first ones to get that content out in people's hands for for them to consume. But it's good to see that everyone's going to be starting on the same level. Probably about a little bit less so because again, February 14th, what a day to pick.
Right?
There's going to be quite a few people that are going to have other priorities, I would hope.
Not me.
Yeah. Me not so much. I chances are pretty good. I don't even know what day of the week that even falls on, but
Yeah.
well, I mean, not that it's gonna matter anyways, because I have to try and figure out my work schedule. Because remember, I'm on 24/7 shift, so
Oh yeah.
It's a Friday.
it's a Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
So depending on what my shift is, yeah, chances are pretty good I probably wouldn't be able to stream it anyways, unless it happens to fall on a day off. Then at the very least, I can stream it during the day, and then spend some time with the missus
Here's where
later in the
I'm a
evening.
really lucky man. My other half doesn't care about Valentine's. If we like for her, we have the conversation about holidays and stuff. Like it's one of the reasons why we don't celebrate New Year's is it's just another day. I mean, there's we don't need that day to spend time with each other. We just do it. So overcrowded restaurants and movie theaters pass. We'll stay at home, whether I game or not. Probably not, but I mean, who knows? Maybe play a little bit in the morning.
I don't know. For me, New Year's Day or New Year's Eve is more of a I don't celebrate it anymore because I'm not as young as I used to be,
There's that too. Yeah.
and I got to work in the morning. Damn it.
All right, well, let's move on to our next news story, and that is that the God of War, Sony and Amazon is starting over after the departure of EPs Rafe Judkins, Hawk Hornsby, that's an awesome name, and Mark Fergus. Sony Pictures TV and Amazon MGM Studios are starting over on God of War, the series for Prime Video. Showrunner, executive producer Rafe Judkins, along with executive producer Hawk Orsby and Mark Fergus, have left the project after completing multiple scripts for the first season. The studios are apparently looking to move in a different creative direction, though one source told Deadline that the trio script were praised by both Sony and Prime. Sony and Amazon's plan to hire a whole new writer's room for the series. That remains on an important asset for Prime. Judkins is a major player in the streamer. 2. He's a showrunner on Wheel of Time. Oh, he's a showrunner on Wheel of Time. Judkins is also under an overall deal with Sony, where he will continue to focus on new development. I think a God of War series would be kind of interesting myself. If I don't want to say if it kept to the storyline of the games or did something else.
No, it should stick
discussion.
to the storyline of the game. Look, video game movies and TV series are finally starting to actually be good. I mean, with the exception
aside.
of Borderlands, yeah, not counting Borderlands, let's focus on what I'm saying with The Last of Us and Fallout. Okay.
Twisted. I was going to say Twisted Metal.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's finally some ground that's actually being covered with these shows being good. I was excited. I still am excited for the series, but I was a little disappointed with the direction that they were going. I love the Norse mythology stuff. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a fantastic storyline. I would love to see that be told on the small screen. However, people have been playing that. People are familiar with that with Ragnarok and 2016, I think, or 2018. 2018. There's so much more content, and I've said this before. There's so much more content for God of War 1 through 3. The whole war with the Greek gods. I would love to see that part be focused on. And I'm hoping that that's the direction that they're going to go. But that being said, I have a feeling that this is going to take the same direction that Horizon did, which is this is the first step for them canceling the project. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that Netflix still does something with Horizon. I would love to see an animated series. The animated series for Netflix, they've been knocking it out of the park. Tomb Raider was fantastic. I've heard good things with Terminator and Cyberpunk. They're doing well with that. I'd love to see something like that. Yes.
Yep.
But that with all of that, I would love to be able to see something more with God of War, but I would love to see the original story. There's so much there, and I don't want to give too much away because there's it takes the standard approach with the Greek mythology, and it's such a fantastic story. And this is one game series that's also out there that I would be totally okay with them remastering. And I think that there is talk that they're actually going to be doing it. I've heard rumors, and I'm not saying that this is confirmed. I've heard rumors that God of War 1, 2, and 3, the HD collection, has been remastered on PlayStation for PlayStation 5, and is actually going to be the PlayStation game of free game for PlayStation Plus next month. Again, nothing verified. I cannot confirm that. This is what I've heard, but that would be fantastic. And I hope that's true. So I also hope that they're going in the direction of telling the story with the Greek part of his history. I would love to see that over the Norse mythology stuff.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah, I hope so too. I mean, obviously, it'd be just another great show to watch. I don't have much of the knowledge. I don't have as much of a dog in this fight as you do, Mav, but I'm slowly getting there. I will unwrap Ragnarok one of these days and get it installed and get it ready to go. There's too many things going on at the moment. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hoping the same thing too, where it's not going to be a death knell for it, and it ends up getting shelved for however long it ends up being, or shelved permanently even. So I mean, yeah, we've got a lot of good shows from video games already. Obviously, again, Borderlands excluded from that list, but here's hoping. I'd be curious to see who they'd cast as Kratos.
I was just thinking the same thing. I was going to ask you guys who do you think would play Kratos?
It depends on what version they're going with, in my mind. I mean,
if they start with the early games, obviously they're probably gonna have to go with the original. It wouldn't be like the Chris Judge Kratos.
yeah, like if they went with Norse mythology, I would love to see someone like Triple H almost be like. And I know fan casting has been kind of pushed towards that a little bit as well, just because he's got the size and the look of him. But I mean, there's so many good actors that would fit that role just fine. But with a young Kratos, I have no idea. I have no idea who they would pick.
Yeah, that's a hard one to pick.
It is because this is one of the reasons why I think it would be fantastic to start with that. Is there's so much character development with 1 through 3, that you see that visceral, vicious side of him. He's nothing but rage in that. And he's not a very big guy in that original series. But then you get to the Norse mythology, he's bulked up, he's older, he's more mature, he's settled down. And I'm very, very, very excited to watch Ryder play Ragnarok, because I felt that the development with that character, with Kratos, took a huge leap forward in Ragnarok. By the time that the game ends, he's a completely different character. So to have that progression be told through a series like that would be phenomenal. And I hope they do it right.
I think you and I were kind of on the same wavelength there. Instead of Triple H, I was thinking for like Norris, Kratos, Dave Bautista.
Oh, I was
He
thinking
doesn't have
Braun
the
Strowman.
size anymore. He doesn't have the size anymore. The guy's dropped like 65 pounds. He
can bulk
he
up.
looks good. He looks really good, but I don't think
I
he
was
can do it
thinking
anymore.
I was thinking Braun Strowman just because of the beard.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that too.
And I mean, he's got size.
Oh yeah, he does.
That man is a
And
he's a walking refrigerator.
He's been dabbling a little bit in acting as well.
Oh, right on. Well, there we go.
All right, well, let's move on because we still got some news stories to cover. And this next one, new Silent Hill patch is breaking the game, but a fix is on the way. Patch 1.04 was meant to improve Silent Hills 2 performance on Steam Deck, prevent crashes on PlayStation 5, and address a few of the game's other unintended flaws. But according to players on Steam and the Silent Hill subreddit, the new update has introduced a game-breaking bug to the labyrinth. Agent Maverick has had some experience with this, as told by his review on the new Geek Corner. We are aware of an issue some players may encounter. The most recent 1.04 patch released on October the 21st in the Labyrinth 2. The announcement reads, "The fix will be released as soon as possible. We deeply apologize for the inconvenience. But for players who don't want to wait for an official fix, a recent post on the game's Steam page lists some possible solutions that range from simply reloading the game to lowering its frame rate. None of them are guaranteed to work, but for now, they're the only solutions players who are eager to continue their trek through Silent Hill 2's blood-splattered hallways and foggy streets." So, Agent Maverick, what's the deal?
I was so mad. I was. What happened? It's at the Labyrinth Cube. For anyone that's playing it or has played it before, there's a door that opens. You go through the labyrinth. All is great. You fall through. You jump through a hole. And I sat there spitting this stupid cube, trying to find a door to open, and it just wouldn't open. I went on every side of the cube, and I looked it up, and I'm like, this should be the one here that opens, and it's not opening. That door should be popping open. And of course, I looked it up. The patch dropped that day, and it broke the game. It will not allow me to progress. I am fuming right now about that. It's a brand new game. I'm sick and tired of games coming out broken at launch. And the thing is, it wasn't even broken to begin with. You released it, it was fine. And you broke it. Anyways, I just hope that it's not a patch where I have to start the whole game over again. And I have a feeling that's going to be exactly what I'm going to have to do once that patch is actually released.
Ooh.
And I hope that I'm wrong.
I've yet to see a game released nowadays where a patch forces you to restart your entire game from scratch.
Good.
Good. So, I mean, I highly doubt. I mean, I think remember the game-breaking bug that I ran into with Jedi Survivor. With the final bounty hunt mission not appearing. That basically stopped me from getting the platinum trophy for a while until they finally patched it. So I mean, once they patched it, the mission just became available. So I imagine if with this particular patch, once they release it, it'd probably be the same thing. You just go back to the door, do the thing with the cube, and the door will just pop open.
I hope so.
That's what I would assume, anyways. But yeah, isn't QA testing fun?
Isn't it?
It sucks that we're the ones that basically are paying to do it for them.
Right.
But I mean, at the same time, having my finger on the pulse of the IT world, being as that's my career, I know where they're coming from, because there's a lot of this stuff that happens too, where the devs create these patches, it goes through testing, it goes through QA, everything works fine, and then it gets applied to the live environment, and something breaks that shouldn't have broken. Unfortunately, with the way things are with technology, because everything is advanced so much, there are millions upon millions more lines of code in games nowadays as there was 15 years ago. So if something breaks, it's more likely to happen just because we have that much more code to have to comb through to make sure everything works. So it sucks. And I think us as consumers have every right to be angry because it happened to us. We're the ones paying for the game. We're the ones expecting it to be working, to our pleasure. But alas, here we are.
Yeah, what can you do?
I will say that when I did write my review, I did not take the game breaking glitch into account.
Good.
Which also means that I haven't finished the game yet. So, but I got, I think, 15 hours into it. Like I'm fairly close to the end. Like I'm about 75 to 80% of the way done the game. There are multiple endings. The combat is good. It's not overly punishing. And I've enjoyed it, and I'm excited to be able to finish that game. The only issues I have, it's so minor, is that the game itself is like, oh, you open up this box, you got to find 3 keys. Oh, this third key is behind this locked door. You got to find the key to open up the door. So you got to look for another key to open up the door to get it. The third key to open up the box, which has another hint for another puzzle. And it's basically a puzzle game with horror aspects in it.
Yo, dog, we heard you like
And
puzzles.
yeah, it's great, but I'm not. I don't need that many puzzles in a game, and that's what I shared in our Discord, and I told Chewy, I was like, this is, you'd like it if you're okay with a good puzzle game, but don't
It's
don't be
almost too
looking
much.
at it's a lot. It's a lot of puzzles in that game. It's all it is. And it's almost jarring at times. Even my other half, she's sitting there watching me, goes, another one? Are you kidding? Like, you just shut it off. I'm done tonight. I can't watch another one. Like, as I said, the combat's great because you turn a corner and there's an enemy there at times, and you get a couple decent jump scares, but nothing huge. It's a good game. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Um, I'm sure part of my issue is that I just don't have the nostalgia for it because I've never played that series before.
All right, we move on to our next news story. And Ryder, I cannot wait to hear your opinions on this one. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is around the corner, and Activision says it wants to catch and remove Call of Duty cheaters within 1 hour of them being in their first match. Ahead of the launch of Black Ops 6, Activision has said it's using AI in its ongoing battle against Call of Duty and hopes to lock cheaters out of the game within 1 hour of them being in their first match. Call of Duty's had a cheater problem for years. Yeah, we've seen it if you've watched any of Ryder's streams of Call of Duty. With free to download Battle Royale Warzone on PC suffering in particular. Activision has spent millions of dollars developing its anti cheat technology as well as pursuing cheat makers in the court, with a number of recent high profile successes stemming the tide. But video game publishers face an uphill battle in the war against increasingly sophisticated sophisticated cheat makers. So Activision has announced plans to draft in AI to help. Kernel level drivers on PC have enhanced anti-cheat reach, but cheaters are already offering cheats go beyond that kernel, even going as far as utilizing special PC hardware that is designed entirely for attacking games and enabling cheating. What our team has been working on for the future is a suite of tools that use AI to find and fight cheaters. So, what does this mean in practice? Activision says that cheaters but uh, can run and hide, but a trial exists. But what if the trial disappears? Trail disappears. That's where AI-powered behavior models come into play. Cheat developers can't hide player behavior. How people play, the legit, the phony, the good, and the bad, gives us information, and we use that to build ways to pick those bad folks out of the lineup. Activision mind. We already have data from cheaters, but to help build our profiles for those god tier players, examine we examine the data from the Call of Duty League, where every match is recorded and every star is observed. There's more in progress around what we're doing with AI beyond behavioral models, and as work continues, we'll share what we can do. Ryder, I would love to hear your thoughts on this one, buddy, because I
That
know
is
you've
a
dealt with cheaters in the
whole
past.
lot of word salad for them to say that they have no bleeping clue what they're doing. Um, to basically to enhance a couple of points that was in that particular article, where they were saying that cheat providers are using special PC hardware designed for cheating. What they are referring to, for those of you who don't know, is what's called DMA cheats. DMA cheats are basically, it's a PCI Express card that you can literally install as another expansion piece of hardware in your computer, and the software is enabled on the chip, which bypasses these kernel detection systems. Um, this has been an ongoing battle for years. And yes, as Rob mentioned before, it's something that I've had to contest with for years, to the point where I've just given up on Call of Duty entirely. I very rarely, if ever, play it anymore, just because the cheating pandemic has gotten this bad. There was a very, very big issue just recently, within a couple weeks, I think, where a particular cheat provider had actually found an exploit in the Ricochet Anticheat built into Call of Duty, where they were able to basically go in, turn this exploit around on other players, and literally permanently ban players at will instead of Activision doing it.
That's
Um,
dirty.
so it actually gotten to the point now where Activision had to basically go in and literally just take their ban lists of players that were banned, regardless if they were legit or not, and just unban them all en masse. Because they weren't able to tell which particular, which legit players were banned and which ones were actually banned because of cheating. So yeah, I mean, they're definitely offering a lot of sweets in their particular statements, but it's going to take a lot of convincing to really prove it to the players that this anti-cheat will work for Black Ops 6. If not, this could very. I mean, it's already started its downhill slide, especially with this last particular issue with the permanent bans. But I mean, like the World Series of Warzone, the CDL, the Call of Duty League was what I'm referring to there. All of these big events are losing more and more viewership because of the cheating pandemic. People are fed up with the game. They're not wanting to play a game or wanting to buy into a game anymore that they can't enjoy because other people are out there with the sole purpose of ruining their enjoyment, basically. So I mean, it's like I said, it's a nice thought to say that we're gonna use AI, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna improve the anti-cheat. They've been saying that for the last 3 years, and look where it's currently at today. So forgive me if I take these particular statements with only a grain of salt, but they have a lot to prove in this particular case.
Green about that big.
Not even that.
Maverick, what are your thoughts?
I don't really have a dog in this fight.
Okay.
But
Moving on.
I mean, it's just a matter of people just trying to pad their stats when it comes to games. And I think it's completely unnecessary. You want to be able to be noticed and make it to these major leagues. Cheating is not the way to do it. I guess I just don't understand that world when it comes to that.
No, me neither.
Which is exactly the reason why. The only reason I ever pick up Call of Duty games is for the campaign.
That's it.
All 7 minutes of it.
Or 2 hours.
I think Chris Judge is still doing his speech.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our next news story, and that's Sony's Guerrilla is completely done with the Killzone series. If there ever is to be another Killzone title out of Sony in the future, you probably should not expect it to come out of the series' original developer, Guerilla. Having shifted focus to its more vibrant Horizon series following PS4 game Killzone. Shadowfalls, the studio's art director Roy Postma, has commented that the studio was done with it as it wanted to create the opposite of Killzone's color palette when crafting Alloy's installment. Postma told the Washington Post. The comments come from a video about Lego Horizon Adventures, where it's revealed Lego approached Sony about the idea of a Lego game following the release of its tall neck Lego set. Talking about switching from the dark and gritty world of Killzone to the colorful post-apocalyptic setting of Horizon, Postma said, we were done with it as a team. As a studio, we needed to refresh the palette. It was by choice the opposite of Killzone. I think the themes that this story and the characters represent as relatable for all ages and people, like having found family and friends and finding your place in the world. Thoughts? Let's start with Maverick.
BS.
Yes.
Look, okay, here's the thing. Horizon makes money. That's what it comes down to.
That's the goal of any developer.
That's what it's all about. And here's they're missing the boat. Call of Duty is now completely owned by Microsoft. Sony's not going to be getting any more of that piece of the pie when it comes to, early access and all of that other bells and whistles. They're concerned about giving Activision any of the specs going forward. Killzone is one of their opportunities to move forward and do a first-person shooter and bring that into their console a little bit more. They're missing the boat, I think. Killzone had a couple great games. I played Shadowfall. I enjoyed it. It was the only one I played, actually, to be honest. But there's so much potential that they're leaving there. But again, Horizon makes money. There's MMOs and live service Horizon games that are going to be coming out. The money's there for them. They're not stupid when it comes to that. To that part. But I think it would be a great idea for them to take a look at reconsidering that decision. I mean, I would love to get my hands on that, on another Killzone, because it's another answer to Call of Duty, and they can move away from it. Even if they own Guerrilla, they now own Bungie. I mean, Bungie's done really well with first person shooters.
Yeah.
Maybe they can take a look at moving that project over there. I mean, it's a possibility. I would love to see something done with that. I think Sony needs a good first-person shooter in their library.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I've never actually played Killzone, so I don't have much of a dog in this particular fight. But I mean, yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head when Horizon makes money. That's that's going to be kind of one of their main bread and butter pieces of their development team. So, yeah, it kind of sucks to see a lot of these old like franchises kind of folding up shop and saying goodbye, and they're gonna put it away for good, move on to newer, bigger, better things. When it comes to the first person shooter arena, I guess it all depends on what's delivered behind it as well. Like, is it a first person shooter with a campaign, or is it going to be like 6v6 multiplayer? Is it going to be kind of like 5v5 search and destroy, kind of like what Valorant is, or are they going to follow in the footsteps of games like X Defiant, things of that nature? So, but I mean, yeah, Sony having one in their back pocket would probably be beneficial, but you also gotta consider what they're gonna be going up against. What can they offer that can peel a lot of those players away from games like Call of Duty? Hint, hint, anti-cheat. Yeah, it's.
I mean, let's throw this idea out there. What about Medal of Honor? No one said that game for a long time. There's one that
the last game that they had out there was really good too. I'm so disappointed we haven't seen that around in a long time. Medal of Honor was one of them. There was another in the similar series. I know Battlefield 2042. That one just did not do good out of the gate. They tried their best to, to make good for their players, and unfortunately, just it didn't click.
at least they're going back to the old style in the modern setting with Battlefield. By the way, they're going back to the modern setting, and they're going to be having a campaign. I'm all for that. Bring that game on. I'm excited. But
I'd be looking forward to
Sony needs something. Yeah, Sony needs something now.
Yeah, Medal of Honor would be a great one to bring back. I'd be all over that.
All right, moving on to our next story, and this is something we've talked about in the past, but Black Myth Wukong coming to Xbox? Question mark. Black Myth Wukong may soon be available on Xbox Series consoles. Developed by Game Science, the game recently received a new rating from the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, ESRB, which lists it for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series platforms. Initially, Game Science delayed the Xbox Series version of Black Myth Wukong, leading to rumors about the possible exclusivity deal with PlayStation. However, this speculation has since been cleared up. There were also suggestions that the delay may be due to technical difficulties, particularly memory leak issues on Xbox Series console, which could have contributed to the postponement. Despite these setbacks, the new ESRB rating strongly indicates that the game is finally ready to launch on Xbox Series. So yeah, we talked about that a few episodes ago about it making its way to Xbox consoles. So, what are our thoughts on this one?
Can't wait.
This game
Right
needs
about
to be
time.
on every single console there is. Um,
Mm-hmm.
exclusivity, we've talked about it, needs to go away.
Yep.
It's a great game. I have found it to be very challenging. It's going to be one that's going to take me a little while to slog through. I'm stuck on a boss, so I've taken some time away from that. Um, and it is a very challenging game. I know people are saying, well, it's closer to God of War. No, the combat is it's tough. I don't completely agree with that. But it's a great game. It's beautiful. It absolutely needs to be in the hands of more players. It is going to be a game of the year contender, 100%.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely.
And I will say I do think it has a very, very good chance of overtaking Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I know that's a very
Oh,
bold statement especially on this podcast.
but
But
Why would
but you
that
may be
be?
right.
Why would that
because
be?
we've been known as the Final Fantasy podcast, according to Monster. Um, but this is the game that's going to be able to do it, especially if they get it on multiple platforms. Because I mean, the games that are in the running right now is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and from what I've seen, Legend of Zelda. Those are locked onto two systems. They're on their own individual systems, PlayStation and Nintendo, respectively. Um, this could open the floodgate for people realizing how good this game actually is. And I think it would really make it an easy win this year for Game of the Year. That's my prediction when it comes to that. And I think it would be a very, very smart decision to get it onto every console possible, just like every game.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, I agree with it being a game of the year contender for sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, I still haven't played the game yet, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. It's probably gonna be one of those games I'll eventually probably get it when it makes its way to like PlayStation Plus or something like that at some point in the future. So I will give it a go at some point, but um, yeah, I mean, it's received a lot of accolades already, and yeah, nothing but high praises for it, pretty much all around from anybody that I know that's played it, present company included here. Um, so yeah, no, yeah, exclusivity needs to go. Get it on Xbox. Get it on more people. Get it in more people's hands. It's that's pretty much the best move you can make at this stage.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
even I scored it a 9.5.
Yeah, I
Like,
think I did see that on your review.
yeah. I think
You
I gave it
scored
a
it pretty high.
9.5 or a 10. I can't remember, but it was definitely it was 9 or higher on my page for my review.
Think yeah, 9.
I think it was a
Oh,
9.5. I think it was 9.5.
I think you pretty much scored Rebirth the same way. If not, you
Yes,
scored a 9.
I believe so. If Rebirth might have been a 10 if I'm thinking back. But
I
I
have to
mean,
definitely go back and look.
yeah, me too. I wrote it.
Yeah, exactly. We've done how many of these episodes? I'm thinking about, well, when did we ask this question in this episode? So
Yeah.
I don't, I hate to say this, but I don't normally go back and watch uh, our old videos. I don't even go back and watch all of my old videos either. So,
Yeah, neither do I.
so let's get on to our final news story of the week, and it is Marvel Spider-Man 2 isn't getting DLC, confirms Insomniac Games. This probably hurts Maverick, but fans of Marvel Spider-Man 2 will need to accept that Insomniac Games isn't planning to release any more content for the popular open world game. After the first entry in Insomniac's take on the Web Slinger received a trio of middling story focused expansions. The community hoped the studio would build upon the sequel, having learned from its mistakes. As it turns out, that won't be the case, but there's good news for PC players who have yet to experience the game on 5. Posting on the official PlayStation blog, Insomniac Games DLC for Marvel Spider-Man 2, while also announcing the game is on PC on January 30th, 2025. Hey, right on. Good news for me. I guess well, we have no additional story content planned for Marvel Spider-Man 2. We're delighted to bring all of our previously released post-launch content PC version, including new game plus, new suits, and color variants, photo mode features, and more. The PC version of the game will include all the content that is Spider-Man 2 through free updates. Better. Free. That includes 12 new suits, Ultimate Legends, additional symbiote suit style, time of day options, and post game achievement. The deluxe edition will also support a series of early unlock, 5 exclusive suits for both Peter and Miles, the bonus skill points, and extra photo mode. So, Maverick, thoughts? Because you're the Spider-Man.
I'm okay with it there not being a DLC. This was a game that wrapped very nicely in a nice bow. What I'm expecting to see is a Spider-Man Miles Morales type spin-off from this game. So for our viewers that are not familiar with that, or I think Ryder hasn't really followed it too much, because I kept pushing him to play Spider-Man, so he's basically said, screw that. The spin-off of Miles Morales was a much shorter, much condensed story, and it was brilliantly told. It could have been provided as a DLC, but it was just long enough to not have it be a DLC and actually have it be worth the money for a fully fledged game. And I'm expecting to see something like that happen. The game's been out for over a year. I'm going to give a spoiler. At one point in time, you get to play as Venom.
Nice.
And it was a blast. The model's there. The city model is there. It would be a very, very easy way to bring Venom in and give him his own game. We've talked about it. It's been rumored that it's going to be getting it. I don't know how they're going to bring Venom back, because there's a certain character that is gone. I'm not going to. The person that was Venom was removed from the series. I'm not going to give too much away in that regard. But I think that they could actually bring Eddie Brock in as Venom, if that's the case, because Eddie Brock was not Venom in that game. So it was very well told. It was a completed game. It was heartfelt. And I was so happy to play it. I cannot, if anyone is thinking about picking these games up, do it. It's a fantastic series.
Do it.
For it to go to PC is also a fantastic move, because again, this is going to bring more players in. The budget, because I wanted to kind of go over this as well, the total budget for Spider-Man 2 just for the development was $315 million. They spent an additional $85 million just on marketing and publishing and getting the money out, the game out the door. They spent $400 million on this game. They didn't turn a profit until February or March of this year.
Oh, wow.
So they need to recover some of that income, and they're doing a well enough job now. It's making money now, but they were selling that game at a loss. So they should have launched it at PC day one, I think. And I think that's going to become more of the standard when it comes to Sony. But they didn't do it there. It's a great move to do it now. The only thing that they could do to improve their income for that as well is release it on Xbox as well. But they'll never, ever do that. And I think that's kind of a shame, because there's also rumors that Microsoft is potentially going to be looking at bringing Halo to the PlayStation console next release. So that being said, I don't think it would be a bad idea to go that far. That being said, PC is a great secondary option. We all knew it was going to eventually happen. And I'm excited for PC players to get their hands on it. But yes, absolutely pick that game up if you're even thinking about it. The first one is fantastic. The DLCs for that one were well worth it. The Miles Morales story was fantastic. And in fact, you can, if you're looking for the PlayStation 5 version of Miles, you can actually get the remastered version of Spider-Man 1 included with that for the cost of a regular game, and then Spider-Man 2. So you only really have to pick up two games to get all three. It's a fantastic series. I can't talk it up enough.
Yeah,
you could, but we don't have enough time on the podcast.
Yeah, yes. Exactly that. Ryder, any thoughts? I know you haven't played it yet, but
no, not yet. It's still one of those ones. It's still in the back of my mind that I'll play it one of these days. But again, because I don't want to develop a backlog as long as Mavericks.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good to see it's good to see that it's coming to PC for exactly the reasons as Mav said. Getting it into getting into the hands of more players. Start getting more money back into the developers' pockets. Especially now hearing how much money they actually had to put into getting this game out. So, yeah, putting it out on PC, which should have been done right away. Better late than never type of thing. So yeah, it's good to see that more people are going to be able to get into the series. Again, it's another series that even though I haven't played it, I've heard a lot of good things about it. So
I want to say this: was I not right about Guardians of the Galaxy? There, Ryder.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. That was that was a fantastic game.
Sure.
Yeah, once you kind of figure out a couple of those things. But yeah, anyways, no, it's good to see. I'm curious to see what more will come out of this on the content creation side of things. Obviously, there's still a lot of content creators out there that don't have a Sony PlayStation. It doesn't matter if it's 4 or 5. So I mean, to see it get released on PC, I'm curious to see how many more, what more content can come out of it. On Twitch, on YouTube, that sort of thing. So it's good to see. I hope that this again. I hope this bucks the trend of of single console exclusivity.
So that was our last news story for the week. So does you gentlemen have anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Yes, give me Division 3.
Actually, there was one thing that we missed a few weeks ago. That one news story that I probably could have included as well was that 505 Games, the company that is responsible for developing Halo, has moved away from that name and has created a new name of just Halo Development Studios. So that's all they're going to be focusing on is just strictly Halo games, and they're going to be moving to the Unreal Engine 5. Is the one piece of news that I was able to come across a few weeks ago that we missed out on, which I think is a great move.
All right, well, I think we will wrap it up for this week. Agent Maverick, where can we find you?
You can find me on the new Geek Corner. I've got a ton of reviews that are going to be coming out. I am still plugging my way through Plucky Squire. I got my review out yesterday on Silent Hill 2. I am currently plugging away as well on Sonic X Shadow. I did pick that one up randomly. I know we talked about early access. Well, I got early access for that one. And also, I am going to be streaming Call of Duty this week. So I think Ryder and I are kind of switch places a little bit with this one. Because normally he's the he's normally the Call of Duty guy, but I am streaming the campaign this weekend. Starting Saturday, I'm going to aim for 11 o'clock start on Twitch. Then I'm gonna hopefully get a review out for that next week. Then I'm gonna be working on Dragon Age coming out here next week as well. And I was gonna start plugging my way through Horizon Zero Dawn, but Ryder has accepted a challenge that I put forward here. We are going to be doing a 100% completion contest here next year, and we're going to see how many games that we can 100% in and or platinum on PlayStation as well. So it could be on either system, but we're going to keep a tally to see who's going for that. And the winner gets to pick the loser's first game of the year within reason in 2026.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
My suggestion is to whoever wins, pick the lowest rated game you can find.
I'm actually I would really I'm going to be really nice. I want to pick a game that I know that he's going to enjoy. Like and that's the thing. Like and I'm hoping that he's going to play by the same rule. Is just, pick a game that we have both slept on that we know the other would like.
I've already got one in mind.
And I've got one in mind for him as well. And if I win, I might just be a good sport and play it anyways. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm very, very excited to get that going. Horizon, for me, I'm very excited to get my hands on that one and start playing that one again. But I'm going to hold off because that one I will definitely be platinuming, and I figured that's a great game to kick things off with here next year.
And Ryder, where can we find you?
You guys can still find me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/RyderPride639. I'm currently I'm still a part of the C4SK, which is the Create for Sick Kids charity event, which runs from now until October 31st. So I have a whole bunch of donation incentives that are available for everybody. Anything from naming your Dragon Quest characters to ordering me a pizza to eating some very, very spicy Bean Boozled beans. Maverick was kind enough to make me eat a Carolina Reaper one the other day. So
you made you eat that one.
I did use the spinner. So I kept it fair.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say,
but you know what? It's for charity. So yeah, that's what I'm currently doing right now. I've just recently started playing Valkyrie Elysium, which Ancient Maverick was kind enough to loan to me for a little bit. This will be the perfect, I think, transition game between now and when Dragon Quest III 2D HD remaster comes up. Speaking of which, that will also be coming up next month for November, which will also be following, or there will be a charity event that follows that as well. The yearly Crash Pad for Kids for Make-A-Wish Canada charity event is coming. I'm currently working on plans not for just myself, but possibly with the Level 1 Lounge here, where we may throw our hat in the ring to raise some money for Make-A-Wish Canada for that as well. We'll get some more details on that, but if you want to know more about the charity events that I'm speaking of here, whether it be C4SK or Crash Pad for Kids, absolutely feel free to reach out to me on any of my socials for that. Aside from that, you can also find me over on YouTube. I'm still looking for different ways to release some new content over there. It's been kind of sporadic lately, but I will get some more consumable content for my viewers up there as well.
And pizza ideas for Ryder: pineapple
on the menu.
Pineapple anchovy, and you burn the crust.
Deadpool
pizza. Deadpool pizza.
They might do the pineapple and anchovy, but burning the crust, probably not. Actually, no, I don't think I've seen anchovy on menus anymore. Anyway, we're getting off topic here. And you can find me over on my YouTube channel where I post every Monday and Friday. We're seeing a great uptick in subscribers recently. I'm up to 352 checked. So yeah, things are growing, things are looking good. So quite happy about the direction of the channel. All because of one video that I did that's now like over 5,000 views. So
nice.
Can't beat that at all. So that will wrap it up before I disappear into the shadows here. So I want to thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this week. I guess when this airs, it'll be on the week. And I want to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're new here. On that channel, on the Level 1 channel, we're at 56 subscribers, so let's keep it going. Good to see. We're coming up to a year of doing this podcast. How time flies. So, but I'm sure we'll talk all about that in the weeks. If we're going to do anything. I'm putting y'all on the spot here. I'm rambling. Anyway, for Agent Maverick 86 and Rider Pride 639, I am the Irish Bandit, and we will see you all again for another episode of Love One Lounge, and we will see you on the next level. Take care.
Bye, guys.